Hey everybody, hope you're having a good day. Today I'm actually painting a commission miniature that a friend of mine asked me to paint, and because he likes my work so much. And this is a female wizard, or an ice wizard, or an ice queen. I don't know exactly what it was or who she is, but she is 3D printed. His friend printed it up. And what I did is a zenithal highlight first, so some black primer and then some white from above with a matte white primer as well. And keeping some of the dark underneath. And now what I'm doing is I'm actually hitting all the higher edges, raised edges, with matte white because it is brighter than the airbrush primer. So it actually is creating our highlights right off the bat even more. Now you can do that with a dry brush if you wanted as well. Now here's something I'm trying something different. I'm using some rosy flesh and I put a little bit of fairy dust in it, which is an effect paint that's supposed to give it a kind of metallic glitter look. It didn't do that. I was really hoping to give her a like glittery skin look, and I might tweak her a little bit after this video is done, but I want to show you how I painted her originally. I want to show you guys that anybody can make mistakes, anybody can make a miniature you can be not happy with your miniature, but you can always fix it up after and make it look amazing. Like, I mean, I loved how the skin worked, but you're gonna see later on in the video where kind of went downhill at one point. But I ended up fixing her and making her look as good as possible. I sent a picture to the person asking me to paint this for him, and he absolutely loved the picture. He can't wait to hold her in his hands. So that just made everything so much better. A big thank you to you for this commission miniature. We're moving on to Pylar Glacier for all those waves. Now, to me, they're like icy waves coming out of the water here, or sort of like an ice storm, or a big cloud of ice and snow and stuff. He said she was a wizard of ice, so I really wanted to bring that out with this Pylar Glacier. It's a great contrast paint for this kind of effect, I find. And then I'm using a little bit of striking scorpion green, which is another contrast paint, on these gems that she's holding, or this like mineral rock. And again, with the white highlight top level there with the matte white, it just makes it pop a little bit more. Next, I'm going to be using some skeleton horde on the skull that she's holding, and some of the parchments that are on her belt as well, just to make them look old and rustic. Then we're going to come and do some achromatic blue on those flames above the skull. And again, later on you're going to see the downfall of this part of the miniature, but anyways, I try to be a little smart aleck and do something. So I go back to the fairy dust now, and I'm putting it on that stone that's on the top, on the edge of her staff, because I wanted it to dry and have a metallic effect, but with a speed paint or contrast over it. So pretty much we're using contrast paints actually, anyways. Now we're using a little bit of hardened leather just to do her belts and the straps around her staff there. We're doing also her shoes with these, or her little shoes, I think that's what they are. And you can't really see, but she has some stockings on, and I'm going to do it with that as well, just because they're already black pretty much, because they're underneath the dress and the white didn't touch it. So just putting on a little bit of that snakebite leather just covers it up a bit more and gives a little bit finishing touches to it. Next we're going to be using some Magos purple, another contrast paint of course, on top of most of her dress. I wanted her to be a wizard with like the robes that I looked online. I wanted some inspiration, so I found most of them had like pinkish or purple or a very light blue, but because there's already enough blue on this miniature, I decided to go with the purple. And I found for some reason that it was pretty flat, like it wasn't very contrasty, it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I will fix this a little later and make it pop a little bit more, but I don't know if it's just because of the matte white that I put above, like from Army Paint or whatever, but whatever. Flesh Terror is red now, just to do this like inner leathery part of her dress there. Sorry, I went a little off camera there, or the angle was a little off. Some Tesseract glow now. We're going to be putting this on some of those vials that she has on her satchel there. Some Nihilak Oxide, which is another technical paint, just to make one of them pop a little bit more. Now some Tyrant Blue contrast on that stone. This is just, sorry, this is a shade, not a contrast. It is a shade. And it just covers up that fairy dust a little bit more and make it pop and make it shine still. Gulliman flesh now for the flesh, just to get into the recesses and make the flesh look even better. Now, again, it wasn't the flesh I wanted to go originally, but I think it turns out pretty nice anyways. Now we're using some Seraphim Sepia, which is a shade, and we're doing her hair. Now, at the time he delivered the miniature, he had asked that she has silver hair. And I have ADHD. I completely forgot because I painted this a week later than he gave it to me. And I completely forgot, but I just found the blonde hair was quite cool. When I sent him a picture, he's like, hey, the hair is supposed to be silver. I said, are you sure? I can fix it. He goes, you know what? I like the blonde. So we leaving it blonde. Wildwood now for her staff that curls around that big stone at the top there. And you can see that stone is glistening in the light there with that fairy dust and that shade on top of it. So fairy dust is a great way to have like a lighter bedazzled look instead of losing like silver, because silver would be very bright. But anyways, all right, remember how I didn't like that Magos purple? Well, now we're gonna put on some Drukai violet on top of it. This is a shade now, so it's gonna shade all the purple, and I find this does a great job just finishing the way I wanted a dress to look. So much better this way. And yeah, gloss varnish now. I'm putting some of those vials just to make those pop. And actually I'll tell you something about the gloss varnish after. Warlock purple now, just to do the trim of her dress. But the varnish I wanted, and I forgot to do it, I was supposed to do it on all the waves to really make that ice pop. So when I do the next part, I do that at the end off camera. I just forgot to show you, but if you want to put that gloss varnish on the waves. Now I know what I'll do is once I find the file, he's supposed to send me the link to the file where you can get it. Anyways, I'll put that in the description. Okay, so I should have finished here. So here's a warning. If you're gonna do OSL, object source lighting, know what you're doing. I thought I knew what I was doing. So I'm using a little bit of Gauss green, I think it's called, from the Army Painter's War Paint, and just trying to hit the gem, and then any overflow becomes the glow effect. Well, if you want it to really work, you got to put white first on anywhere you want a glow effect. So it turns out looking awesome on the ice and on those vials because they were shiny, but it ends up looking horrible on her skin, her dress, and the rest of the miniature that it hits by accident. And I'm gonna do the same stupid thing with the skull flames. I'm gonna use I don't remember what they call the blue from Army Painter, but anyways, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do a glow effect coming from that angle now, and it's the same thing. So if you're doing OSL, make sure you're gonna put some white where you want that brightness to hit. To me, anyways, I cleaned her all up, I fixed it all up after, and that's the picture I sent to my friend because I didn't want to give him a miniature that looked horrible, and this made it look horrible. So anyways, here you go. There's the final cleaned up version. I redid all the straps and all that. I redid the skin. I put that gloss varnish on the ice and all that, and I put some snow effects around the edge. I put some water effects on the bottom as well there. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you're going to spend less time painting, and we'll see you all in the next one.